Thank you so much for your time, Valyn. I'm Miguel Soriano from Sons of KS here in Latin America. Well, first of all, to congratulate you on the great run you did in Bangkok. We were following you there. G2 has a huge fan base here in Latin America as well. There were a lot of people rooting for you guys. And mostly, yeah, and foremost of, there were many people rooting for you because you have many fans here in Latin America. I think since last season, I believe. You had like a fairly healthy interaction with the crew fans as well. So yeah, that's why
Yeah.
there's so much love for Valyn Hill in Latin America. So we are about to start stage one. You come from having a great result. I mean, in Bangkok, you had like a great result on the league. You finally snatched that trophy at the end of the event. And so, how are the feelings on the team? How are the team coping with the result in Bangkok, and how are you getting ready to start the competition on stage one?
Yeah. So after our result in Bangkok, we we fly home obviously, and I think we rested for about like 7 days, just to kind of relax the mental a little bit. I mean, it's stressful when you travel a lot and go play internationally. Like it takes a toll on you a little bit, and so we're just being realistic and try to make sure everyone's mental is like fully reset. So we took like a week off. Right now, we just started scrims again, getting back into things, but yeah, I think like cope wise, we knew that that was a great tournament for us. Although we didn't win and we expected to win. Uh, there's only one winner at the end of the day, and we showed that we put up a great fight and everything. Like we talked about it, and there's a lot of life and learning lessons that we can take from that result. It's not a result that we're just like, we kind of got outplayed that day. We need to play better Valorant. Like it's deeper than just in game. Like it's out of game. It's mental. It's um, lasting 7 hours in a match. It's environment with the crowd. Like there's a lot of factors there, and it was a blessing to be able to compete on that stage. And from here, it's just kind of getting back into that mode. We have a long split ahead of us. We're kind of getting ready. Like this is what we do. We zone back in. We understand it's going to be a long journey again, like it always is. Um, and yeah, like it's been pretty fast paced right now since we got back because we got to implement like Ascent, implement Icebox, bring in the Waylay on these comps. So right now it's kind of like we forgot about Bangkok in a healthy way. We've accepted the loss and we know how to move forward from it. And now we just got eyes locked in for split one. And I told them, I'm like, guys, how cool would it be to be back to back domestic champions? Like maybe we're not international yet, but let's get the back to back domestic as like a little appetizer, and then we'll get the big one later.
Yeah, I mean, on that matter, I think you would be like the first team to ever achieve that in
Yeah.
Americas, because yeah, we've had like many trading champions, but then you did had like back to back finals last year, against 100 Thieves and against
And
Leviathan,
then Lev.
in then
Yeah.
left, yeah, and right now you're facing the opportunity to do that again, but with the trophy in your hands. So I was talking to Joe a little bit ago, and he was telling me about how is like the feeling between the group. There's this tight knit group that feels like family, and in that regard, what would be like your take on how important is for the team, like to behave more of a group of friends rather than a competitive roster, and how do you get the best results?
Yeah. I think it's hard for a team to get to that point. We've been, this core of like me, Trent, Jonah have been together for so long that it's kind of like been a part of the team of just being a family. It's something that I understand why these other teams don't have it. It's kind of hard when you throw players together like within 1 year to just act like that unless they have prior history. But I think it's really important. I actually told my team this the other day of like when we lost in Bangkok, we were all just kind of at the dinner table, like, having some drinks, having some food after the loss. And it was a bit depressing, but I told them, I'm like, this is winning. Like us being at the table with each other, like us going to practice every day and enjoying our days because we have each other. Like people don't really have that in all industries. I mean, even the fellow teams. I assume some of them like go to practice. Maybe they're not as close with their teammates. It just feels like work. But with our team, every single day, it feels like I'm just having a lot of fun, even through the stressors. Like it is stressful, it is chaotic. There is sad emotions as well and anger, but it's with a group of guys that I trust. And at the end of the day, we're winning every day because we have this within our team. And I think having that mentality kind of just will always shape us in like an upward trajectory because we're just grateful to have each other. And yeah, it's something that was built like with time. But also we got lucky to find such like people that are good at the game, but also click within our personalities as well. Just you know, we're all like stupid, like goofballs. We just it just feels very well here. No one feels like odd man out.
Okay, well,
Um,
mhm.
yeah, that's
I'm
basically it.
Yeah, well, talking about that because there were some teams that made like last minute adjustments. They've been having like movement on the rosters because maybe the results, maybe the chemistry, the synergy wasn't like the right one. Um, on your what would be like what your thoughts on that? Because sometimes some teams like do put their money on like continuity, right? Like having the same group of people working together for a long period of time to achieve results. And there are some teams that maybe do try this like moving pieces until something fits in and something starts like giving out. So what would you be your thoughts on like on this matter?
I mean, I feel like I was in this situation last year in kickoff. With Net, we made a roster move with Net last year, and that's when we brought in Icy. And so I understand why these teams are doing it, and maybe they look at us and think that they can make their like one move away from going to the international lens because that's how it was for us last year. But I think there's a middle ground that they need to find of like continuing with the same players. I couldn't say the word, and like making the change. With Net, we played with him for many years, and after the kickoff, it just felt like we needed something else within the team. Um, but he's still a great player, and like that happens a lot with these teams. But I don't think they're giving them the chances long enough. And it is very fine line because VCT is kind of cutthroat. There's only 3 events per year, so it's hard to be an organization that's like you want to make these events, but you also maybe want to keep the roster to see if they can build that synergy, but you don't see the results within like the first kickoff and puts you in a hard position. So I have sympathy for those players and for those teams that have to make the rough calls because I was in that spot last year. And usually you don't know if it's the right one until after, of course. Um, but but yeah, I think it definitely takes a toll on a team. I mean, I remember when we got Icy, it was a lot of work to like lose a key player from our past, bring in a rookie or bring in someone who's not really familiar with us and integrate him into the system. And yeah, it worked out, but no one saw the amount of practice and everything that went into making it like that. And if an organization or a team is not ready to put in that amount of work, and kind of expect it to be difficult like that, it could go like kind of disaster for them. So I'm thinking like Lev, MIBR, those are the two that came to my head that made like the one roster move. It could be good, and I'm sure they have their reasons, but they need to understand like sometimes the grass is not always greener, and the problems come from other spots. So you got to take a deep look into that as well.
Yeah, and as you said, well, that sometimes that's something you don't notice until further ahead. So
Yeah.
it's a big gamble. I think we are reaching our time limit, but before we
No.
go, as I was telling you at the beginning, you have like a huge fan base here in Latin America. There's a lot of people rooting for you, and a lot of people like rooting for Valyn as well. So, any words you'd like to say to the fan base here in Latam before taking off for the stage one?
Uh, yeah, no hablo mucho español, but pero like entiendo un poco. Muchas gracias, pero like all the fans, muchas gracias. I love you guys so much too. Like actually, I was talking with my friends about how I know I have a big community in Latam, so I thank you guys so much. I wish I knew how to speak more Espanol because I just want to be able to connect with you guys. But yeah, you the fans in Latin America, I love you so much, and thank you for all the support.
Thank you. We can help you with the Spanish lessons further
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
So
no,
yeah,
actually, like some phrases next time, so I can.
yeah.
Sounds
Like,
good.
well, thank you so much for your time. We will see each other further ahead on the season. I hope so. Best of luck on this stage one, and I hope you really get that back to back championship. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much. Yeah,
See you
we'll talk
later.
another time. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
En la grieta vamos a luchar, con nuestras peñas la victoria alcanzar. Vamos con estrategia.